Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode, another great interview with tech experts like you. This is Carlos Ponce at Nearsoft's Mexico City office. And of course, we have Luis Ortiz, my fellow Nearsoftian, who's going to be joining us as co host today. Thank you, Luis. You happen to be here around the office too, so you're close by. All right. So today we have Fabian Schwartz. Fabian Schwartz, let's see. Fabian Schwartz is an agile. Hey, Fabian, how you doing?
Good, and you?
We're perfect. Thank you for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, Fabian Schwartz, he is an agile coach and consultant and trainer. And he's going to be talking to us about his chosen topic of the day, which is high performance teams. Why the who matters less. That second tagline is kind of intriguing and interesting to say the least. So you're going to elaborate on that, Fabian, in a few minutes, okay? All right. So, well, Fabian, welcome to the show. We're live now, and we're eager to hear what you have to say about why you chose this particular topic. So I'm going to be passing on the mic to you. Welcome, and welcome to DojoLIVE, Fabian. The mic's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Carlos. Thanks for having me. Why that topic? We're doing lots of Scrum trainings and coaching here, and there's some questions that frequently pop up. And one of those questions is, who do I put on a team in order to get high performance? And when we have questions that frequently pop up, we usually analyze them a little bit deeper. And we actually found when we analyzed that it is not so important who's on the team, but there's some other factors that are a little bit more important. So if you want, I can maybe talk a little more about that. Actually, everything started with a class I took in Stanford a while ago, and they were presenting us a study done with companies from the Silicon Valley, and they analyzed different companies' cultures and how these cultures are related to the success of the company later. And one culture is, for example, the star culture, where the team members are important, but it was not the most successful culture. The most successful culture was actually the commitment culture. So that led me to the question, well, how do I generate a commitment culture? And by the way, what is actually culture? And
what's the word again? How do you spell that word? Because that's kind of foreign to me.
Culture?
Yes.
C-U-L-T-U-R-E.
Hold on a second. Can you repeat that, please, for me and the audience?
C-U-L-T-U-R-E.
C-U-L-T-U-R-E. Okay, culture.
Yeah. Culture.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, my pronunciation maybe.
No, that's fine. We get, these things that we talk we have conversations with people from all over the world. So occasionally these things happen. So that's only predictable and natural. So no worries about it. So you were talking about culture. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Fabian.
So I was thinking a little bit about it. How can we generate commitment culture, and what is actually culture? And there were lots of different definitions about culture. Particularly like this one from McKinsey, culture is how we do things around here. So I was thinking, well, if we want to change culture, we actually just have to change how we do things around here. Now the big question was, well, what are the things we probably have to change in order to get commitment and high performance? And I analyzed that a while and actually tried some stuff with our clients, and we ended up developing a high performance commitment model that has 6 columns, let's call it, or 6 important points. So first, we think a team needs a purpose. A team without a purpose is probably never really intrinsically motivated. Secondly, we think we need trust, but a special kind of trust. Like if you, for example, look in the military, and you use some teams like the Navy SEALs, they would probably die for their team member. No, I do not expect you to die for your team member, but yeah, that's the kind of trust, of internal trust you probably want. And in order to get there, you probably have to do something. A third thing we think is important is having cross-functional teams. Okay, you can read that in the Scrum guide, but I would like to stress it is really important to not have a team of specialists, but really a really cross-functional team where people have multiple skills and can help other people out. The fourth point, or the number 4, that I think is really important here, I would call it probably collective consciousness, which means that, I don't know if you compare that with ants. If you see ants, they somehow work or move all the time like they were coordinated. Everybody, every ant knows exactly what they have to do. But there's no project manager ant or CEO ant telling them what to do. So somehow they have the consciousness and know exactly what to do. And in order to get there, we need contextual understanding, I think. So and some teams that we've seen, not everybody is really clear about why they have to do something. That was like many years ago. I was talking with a guy working in actually a friend of mine, in Mercedes-Benz in Germany, and at that particular site, they had some performance issues. And when you ask the guys what you're doing, they were telling them, yeah, we produce brakes. Well, I'm not really sure if that was brakes, but some part of the Mercedes. So they were producing brakes. So what they did, they invited them to the head office or headquarter and demonstrated them where the brake fit into the whole part of the Mercedes they were producing. Let's say it was the SL 500 to have an example. They say, okay, the brakes that you're producing are really important for this SL 500. Without those brakes, this car doesn't work. So you are an essential part of producing this car. And well, they did some more than that. And if you ask them a couple of months later, what are you doing? They were telling you, we are producing the Mercedes-Benz SL 500. So now they had contextual understanding. Now they had shared consciousness. And now they could actually decide what is important in a moment when there's a problem or a crisis, what they would do, because they know what it is for. And many teams don't have that. In order to be able to do it, you need transparency as well, something what the Scrum guide tells you. And the second last point I want to mention comes from a Google study. It's called Project Aristotle, where Google were analyzing their teams and they were checking what does create high performance. They as well found it's not the who, but it's psychological safety, amongst others. But the most important factor for them, for high performance teams, were to have psychological safety. The question is usually, what is psychological safety? Basically, it's how sure you feel in a team to commit a mistake, to do a mistake. If you feel secure on the team to do that, if you feel safe to do that, you have psychological safety. If you're afraid or scared to commit an error, you probably do not have psychological safety. And the last one is focus. But yeah, focus on a team. That comes from a book from Patrick Lencioni, Overcoming the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, where he tells you that distractions, so team members in many occasions have something else on their mind, probably their ego or something else, and not always the team focus. So you have to create focus. So these 6 points, in my opinion, if you get them right, you have pretty good chances to get high performance teams and the commitment culture.
Thank you so much, Fabian. Excuse me. Here we go again. Quick question, one real quick question before I pass on the mic to Luis. And the examples you were giving me, giving us about the Mercedes-Benz. I mean, from my understanding is, what I envisioned was like a, how can I say this? Like an applicable to an assembly line or something, or an industrial type of scenario. That's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I envisioned. And of course, what I would like to ask you is, does that apply also to things like software, engineering, technology? You know, what can you tell us about that?
I think that applies to any team. You want collective consciousness. You want and contextual understanding. You want that people know what their small part that they're working about fits into. That's this famous example when where they were asking, I think it was a cleaning lady from NASA, what are you doing here? And she was telling you, we are putting men on the moon. So I think that's what you're actually looking for, and that applies to software and any other team.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Fabian. Great. Luis, on to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Hey, Fabian, so it's pretty interesting, your introduction. I've heard some definitions of culture, and culture, the one that brings me back to my office is, how do things get done whenever the boss is not around, right? Culture is what really happens when the boss leaves the building. And
that's
so,
a really good definition, though.
Yeah, exactly. And even more in Agile, I think the breakthrough from Agile is like going from a manager to an actual coach or leader. And so I think that's the most difficult part of an Agile culture, because everybody in the company has to embrace this new way of the way that things are expected to get done. And people are they're used to working in a command and control organization, right? Sometimes some people need to have somebody on top of them telling them what to do. What's your take on that? How to ease that transition from a traditional command and control organization where there's the manager to an Agile organization?
Okay, well, that's a good question. Well, I have probably two points on that. First, I would like to mention, I don't think that you always need to move the whole organization completely into this network like Agile teams.
Okay.
And there's actually a pretty good book on that written by John Cotter. It's called Accelerate, I think it is. And he's talking there about the dual operation system. So you need some kind of organizational overhead to do some stuff that has to be managed. But as well, you need all these Agile teams in order to develop your new products, to get things out there, etc. So that's probably the first point. And the second is, I think it's not an easy move. And I think probably the best way is to find some people that are really motivated to do that, build some pilot teams and work with them. And once you create success, you have a pretty good starting point, because success usually leads to more people wanting to do that. So that will be my take on that. I know there are big bang Scrum implementations or Agile implementations. I've only heard of one that was really successful. It's this famous Salesforce story. But my approach would be a little bit more iteratively.
Yeah, because I've witnessed some people that whenever you start involving them and discuss some issues with them and figure out their own solutions, what tool do you need, what's your approach in this, especially people that are new to Nearsoft, because we are an open company and we have that culture. So people usually whenever they have that first interaction and they come from a more traditional place, they ask you like, what's the catch? Is this a trick? Are you going to, is this to dump the responsibility on me or something, right?
Yeah.
And so I found that, you know, to do that, you need to start by having everybody on board. Everybody needs to know purpose, the mission. What are you trying to accomplish? And you know, that's the most important for me. And so, in that point, when you talk about like, and in high performance teams, why the who matter less? What is it that matters then? If it's not the technical, what do you mean with the who? It's not the person, or it's not the technical abilities that matters. What is that? What is it that matters that we need to?
Okay. Well, what I want to say with that is, there is this idea out there, and some clients really ask that. Well, who do I put on the team? Do I put all my superstars on the team in order to get a high performance team? So what I want to say is, it's not so important that everybody on the team is a superstar. But it's important to get these 6 factors right that I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. And with that, actually Google found there were teams that had no superstar on the team and had high performance because they have psychological safety. And I think additionally to psychological safety, you need these other factors. What I as well think is, it is important that you have team goals and not individual goals or objectives. So once you give individual objectives or goals to somebody, well, they will work on them and probably forget the team goal. And you have to align the incentives to that. So you need as incentives aligned to the team goals, not to individual work.
All right. Cool. And another question I have, you know, the points that you mentioned, culture, trust, having a cross-functional team, this collective consciousness, the focus that is needed on a team, those sound are, I mean, at first, they seem like a good idea, but not just for software teams, right? For any type of teams. So right now, there's this trend to think that Agile is for every industry, not just the tech industry. What's your take on that? Is it really helpful for any other industry or area within the same company?
Well, I do think it has advantages. We actually just published together with Joe Justice from WikiSpeed the Scrum on Hardware guide. My point of view is the following. A Scrum is iterative and you try experiments. So you want to look in your projects where the cost of change is low and the uncertainty is high. So that's the point where you want to, or where you can apply Scrum pretty good. So let's take, for example, construction. Construction is something where many people told me, well, that's impossible. Now, I think the design phase in construction is a phase where the cost of change is low and the uncertainty is high. So that's actually a pretty good idea to apply Scrum there. We recently did a talk on Scrum in oil and gas, for example, where when you do drilling, when you drill a well that can cost a couple of $1 million, and once it is there, well, it's basically a sunk cost. So if you don't find oil there, you basically lose your investment. So people say, okay, you can't apply Scrum there. Well, you maybe can before when you do your geological engineering. You can apply Scrum, use 3D printing or something in order to get prototypes. So I do think in many different areas outside of technology and outside of software, there is a probability to apply Scrum. You have to look for high uncertainty and low cost of change.
All right, cool. That's actually a pretty good way to sum it up. Whenever the cost of change is low and the uncertainty is high, that's where you can use Agile methodologies, right?
That would be the idea.
Yeah, great. And so your point in this why the who matters less is that it's not so important. I'm going to read this verbatim from your last paragraph. It's not so important to have superstars on the team, rather than how the team is operating. So I think this is very important. Sometimes the person with the most technical skills is not necessarily the best team player, and sometimes he can hold back a team. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good point. But there's a very famous example that people use. That's the 2004 USA Olympic basketball case. So that was a team with all superstars, Allen Iverson, etc., on the team. Probably the best Olympic team in terms of superstars they ever had. And they lost. And you have to say that the US team almost never loses.
Yeah, they lost to Argentina, I think, right? Or
they actually came in third, not only second. They came in third. Right. And well, the question is what happened. Or there are lots of ideas what happened. But probably ego was a problem. So everybody wanted to shine on that team. Mm-hmm. So they probably, that's my interpretation, but they probably were not thinking in, okay, we have to win this thing here, not important who scores the point. Everybody wanted to score the point, so yeah, they were not operating the right way, but they had all superstars on the team.
Yeah, I remember that one as well.
Sorry, guys, I'd like to step in for 1 minute, just
Sure.
With a quick reminder for the audience. If you're watching now or will be watching at a later time on DojoLIVE's website, please, if you have questions for Fabian, you can send them on Twitter or by email. Twitter handle is right here, @DojoLIVE. Simple. You know how to use Twitter. Everyone does, so just go ahead and do it. Or you can simply email it to dojolive@nearsoft.com. Either way, Fabian's info is going to be also on the website as well, so keep an eye for that too. With that being said, well, I'll be on the lookout for your questions, and then we can just simply read them back to Fabian, and he'll respond. Fabian, I have a question, and I just was thinking of this concept that you mentioned of psychological safety. Does this approach, does this view on psychological safety include, especially when working with teams that are complex in nature or diverse in nature or geographically distributed? Psychological safety, how do you handle the failure when it comes to, when it happens? I know not everything is milk and honey. So when something fails, what is your approach? What do you think the approach should be in this concept of psychological safety? Should we celebrate it as well as celebrate failure as well as we celebrate successes? How do you handle this?
Yeah, I think we should embrace failure until a certain point. I think people need to feel safe to make a mistake, and then we should use the mistake as an opportunity to learn from the mistake. Like that from one side. But there's also this saying, the definition of stupid is doing the same mistake twice. So I think if you do a mistake, if somebody commits a mistake, you should use it and learn from it. But for example, in Scrum, you have the retrospectives. If somebody does the same mistake twice, in the retrospective, that should be a point of discussion. But what I think you should avoid is should from top management, the people or the person should receive a punishment from top management, and because then what you get is you get a fear, so they probably won't take risk anymore, and in order to avoid the failure or even worse, they try to hide the error. So I do think, until a certain point, you should probably celebrate it.
Yeah, at least learn from them, right?
Yeah.
It's not. I think it's not really as in celebrate like saying, yeah, we made another mistake. Let's just keep aiming for more. No, but learn from that mistake, right? There's this good post from Scott Belsky, the founder of Beham's platform. And he said that, agile product development is a game of endurance and opportunity, enduring mistakes and taking advantage of the opportunities that that present to you. And I think that's what Agile is all about. To being able to have the flexibility of jumping into an opportunity or respond to a mistake quickly, right?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good point. I think that's actually what that is about. You want to use that as an opportunity to learn from it.
Yeah, correct. All right. Well, Fabian, I have a question, and I'm going to also make way for some comments of you. There, you have this Scrum Master training on Udemy for Latin America, I think. And well, what do you think the Scrum is more? It's more valuable about Scrum. Is it the way the team works, or is it the Scrum events? You know, the planning, the estimations, the retrospectives, or what do you think it's valuable? The most important thing on Scrum? And if you could also, you know, take this opportunity to let us know about your course and what do you cover that in those lessons?
Okay, yeah, I like that question actually, because we found some clients that they think if they apply the Scrum events and the Scrum roles just like a checklist, okay, we do a daily Scrum check, we do a sprint planning check, etc. They do Scrum and then they have problems, they sometimes fail and they wonder, okay, what happened? So I think all these things are really good and help. But I think the major point is that you have the right culture, the right mindset. I don't want to stress the word mindset too much because everybody uses that. But basically, maybe take the Agile Manifesto and ask yourself on a scale from 1 to 5 on each principle, how do you rate? And if you are on 1 or 2 on each of them, you probably do not have the right culture or mindset yet, so you have more work to do in order to get there. But if you're in 4 or 5, you're good, and Scrum roles and Scrum events, etc., will help you a lot to get more productive. And yeah, having said that, actually, thanks for mentioning the training. We're proud of that because we just launched that a very few weeks ago. And well, we do basically cover all the Scrum guide plus some additional stuff and some case studies. And I actually have a little gift for those of you that speak Spanish. If you like, I have 10 free coupons for this course. So if you want to check that out, go to udemy.com. and search for Fabian Schwartz, and then you will find a course called Scrum Master La Revolución Ágil. And when you check out the course, there's an option to introduce a coupon. So with the coupon Scrum free, all in capital letters, it's only today and only 10 coupons, but you will have the chance to register there for free. In case you cannot, you're not fast enough, the others are faster. We have as well 10 coupons for 80, 60, and 40%. So just do Scrum 80, Scrum 60, and Scrum 40. Each coupon has 10 opportunities, and that's only valid today. So, well, check it out and good luck with that. Let me know what you think about the training then.
Nice. Definitely. We'll definitely share those as well on our networks to see who's interested.
Okay, now thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Fabian. I was looking at one of your posts here about this topic, and I also Can you elaborate what in that place?
Sorry, the connection was somehow lost. Could you repeat it a little quick?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can everyone hear?
Yeah.
Now it's good.
We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Maybe it was momentarily. What I was asking is, I was looking into some of the things that you have written, and there's a concept that I became particularly intrigued, and I wonder if this could be applied also to non-software development teams, like maybe teams in other areas, or things like that. With, for example, my case in business development or communication. What is tell us a little bit about, elaborate please on your theory of the perfect team. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to conceive like a perfect team. You know, oh, this team is so perfect that it can even be some kind of I don't know, some kind of trendsetter or an example for everyone else in the company. So it's teams are complex. You know, no one. So there's where does the
sorry, Carlos, I think I lost you again. I don't know if you can hear me. I cannot hear you. Hello. Hello? No, I can't hear. It's like, yeah, cut it in pieces. I don't know. I can't hear any of you. I don't know if Luis could maybe repeat the question. I don't know. And at the moment, I can't hear anybody. On a theory of the perfect team. Okay, can you elaborate on a theory of the perfect team? Okay. Well, I think having a perfect team is complicated. I think you can get a pretty good team, a high performance team, getting at least these 6 points right that I mentioned. There's a famous example about the Saturday Night Live crew when they started Saturday Night Live in the US, this TV show. When they call it, it was almost a perfect team, even if everybody on the team was like half crazy probably. But I think I would like to mention one thing. If you get the 6 point right and you do that for a while, you get a pretty good performing team. You get a high performance team. But you're still in risk because there are other things you have to take into account. For example, we say in Agile a lot, we need stable teams, and we need that backlog items flow through stable teams. Now, stable teams as well have a risk because after a while you can generate groupthink or group thinking, and once you have group thinking, you have another risk, and then you're not the perfect team or the really high performing team anymore. So what I would like to say is get these 6 things straight and see team development as a continuous process. You always have to work on that and always be aware on that in order to keep on that high performance level. Otherwise, you won't be the perfect team anymore after a while. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah,
Carlos.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And oh, by the way, we just got a little internal notice that the internet was down for like momentarily. But
yeah, our RT guy sent us that message right now.
I don't know. He had this great idea of doing this like right now. But anyway, okay. So we're approaching the final segment of today's conversation. So, and you briefly mentioned something about that, but can you also tell us a little bit more about your Scrum Master online class for those who are interested and who will be interested?
I just mentioned that to Luis.
Yes.
So this is a very new class. It's for Latin America. It's Spanish only. We're actually proud of that. The idea is that we can spread the Scrum a little bit more in Latin America. People have easier access to it, so it's obviously a lot cheaper than a regular class, and since it's online, you can access that from everywhere. And I would like to invite you if I have 10 free coupons and 80, 60, and 40%, each one 10, all valid today. So go to udemy.com, search for Fabian Schwartz, and try your luck with one of those coupons.
Perfect. Actually, let's see if we can do something here. And there you have it, folks. It's right there, Scrum Master, La Revolución Ágil, the Agile Revolution.
Awesome.
Is this going to be conducted, Fabian, as well?
Sorry. Could you repeat that? I don't know if your IT team does maintenance again. I cannot hear. Could you maybe write that in the chat and I answer? I cannot really hear you. I don't know if you can hear me and ask me that in the chat. I will answer, but I cannot hear you. Okay, I don't know. Looks like Carlos is gone. Luis, are you still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can actually. I don't know. Did you understand what he said?
He cut down at the very last minute, but he was actually going over your website, well, the Udemy website, about your course. So, I mean, if you can maybe tell us a bit more about it, if that's okay.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that we cover all the whole Scrum guide and give some additional information. The Scrum guide is pretty short, as you know. So we cover as well, beside all the artifacts, meetings and roles, we cover things like user stories, like estimating with points, doing a release planning. We as well have some case studies on there. Just get a small video we put on there a few days ago from Jeff Sutherland himself recommending that class. So I thought it was kind of awesome. So I wanted to share that with you as well. It's you can actually you can go there as well. The first couple of classes are free. So the first sections you can watch them without registering. And if you like it, you go further. If you don't, well then look for another option.
Yeah, it's really great to start to finally see these courses in Spanish, right? To have this trickle down to train more people in Latin America. It's very important, and also it's very impressive that Jeff Sutherland it's actually recommending that. Congratulations on that! Yeah.
Thanks. That was really awesome. I wasn't expecting that, but thanks to Jeff. It was a pretty good thing.
Yeah, it's not only the course, but also you as an agile coach and trainer. So congratulations! I mean, that's the legend talking.
yeah. Thanks. I was really happy about that. So we actually celebrated that here internally as well. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to make sure that you can hear me now. Apparently.
We can hear you and see you
perfectly. The thing is that I don't know why, but I'm going to talk to the IT guy here because had this is doing changes at the least
perfect timing.
Yeah, timing could be worse. But anyway, well,
it's almost like the Murphy's Law.
Yeah,
Murphy's Law. Yeah. Go beat him on his way out. Yeah. All right, so here's I just had the thing is that when I was sharing with the audience the screen for the Udemy and the Udemy page with your course, I just asked a simple question, which is this going to be also in English or just is in Spanish, just so that we can frame the invitation accordingly?
No, it's in Spanish only. It's for now it's Spanish only.
Okay.
And actually. Well, we have that only for a couple of weeks there. But it's interesting that most people register from Mexico, second most Colombia. So if you hear from some other country, you might want to change the statistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
All right. So, Luis, do you have any more questions or any comments before we do the final wrap-up?
I have one final question, and
Go ahead.
I mentioned this like a little bit before we went on air. Workforce is almost globally shifting towards working remotely, working from home, and you know, it's almost in any industry that people are working out remotely. What do you think about using Agile in remote teams? Is it possible? What do we need to take care of?
Okay, I think for sure it's possible. I do believe in co-location. I have to say that, and I think that's a really important part in high performance. I still think you can get high performance if you have remote teams, but you have to take into account that a very essential part of an agile team is communication. So once you're remote, you have to assure you get the communication right. So what I mean, I think everybody knows these conference calls where everybody logs in from everywhere and it's actually doing something else while on the call until his name pops up, and then he gives his small report, and then he mentally fades away. So I think when you're not be able to co-locate, first of all, it works a lot better if the team know each other already before they are remote. So, for example, if you work with people from other countries at the beginning of working together, you might want to arrange a meeting for them for a couple of days on some site, and in order so they get to know each other. And second, while you communicate remotely, I think you should try at least video conference in order to transmit more information, because well, I guess more than half of the communication is not what we say, but also how we say it and which volume we say it, what's our gesture, why we say it. So I think it's possible. I believe co-location is better, but to sum that up, if you have remote teams, make sure they know each other before they work remote, and make sure you have at least video conference and regular communication with your team.
Right. Cool. And what can we use to overcome these barriers to communication?
Okay, that's a really tough question, actually. Because what we're doing actually at the moment, some investigation and research on how to work Scrum and teams with different cultures. And well, there's first thing is the language barrier. So even if we speak English now, not everybody maybe understands some things differently, etc. As well, in different cultures, the same word has a different meaning. I give an example, like the yes in Spanish is sí, and you know that, obviously. But if you have, for example, a German interpretation of the word sí, I'm German, by the way, then it's pretty clear. It means yes, I will do exactly that. I might not be happy about that, but it means exactly that. And in a Latin context, sí can also mean yes, but maybe not. So, and it's just one word. It's just one word, and it's a very simple word. Now, if you add that up, all the possible options you have communicating with each other, and then have different cultures involved, you have a serious problem. So what I would like to say is, make sure you can transmit as much information as possible. I'm not meaning to talk as much as possible, but to have, for example, video in order that people see how you talk, and to have the voice so you can hear how loud he's talking, etc. And maybe be aware of other cultures. It's very easily said and very difficult done.
Yeah, it is. I get it. Nice. Well, thank you for your comments. I don't know if you have any other question, Carlos.
No, not me. Actually, the only thing left for me to do is simply encourage Fabian to, well, to share any final words of wisdom for the audience, either current or future one. So, Fabian, any final words of wisdom in closing?
I would like to thank you for having me here, for spending your time with me. Thank you to everyone that was live here with us. Yeah, I would like to wish you good luck with your Agile project. And if you're not sure yet if you go Agile or no, I would like to recommend you give it a try with a small project where you can't do a lot of damage. And if it goes well, then go further. And if not, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Perfect. I really appreciate, thank you, Luis, for having nominated Fabian. And thank you, Fabian, for accepting to be here. And I just like to remind the audience that next week we're going to have another great interview on DojoLIVE. And we're going to have Nathan Parasuram, the CEO and co-founder of a company called Reintent, with the topic, getting your first 20 customers as a startup. So if you're a startup or are looking to get into one, you should look at this. You should watch this interview. Next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, getting your first 20 customers as a startup. With that being said, the only thing left for me to do, Fabian and Luis, is, as usual, a big heartfelt thank you. And I look forward to being in touch and having you again sometime, Fabian. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Fabian. And let's be in touch.
Ciao.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks a lot, Fabian. Thanks a lot, Carlos.
Sure. Bye-bye.